Well, well, well. We've been wanting to do this for quite some time. But
Yes.
after much delay, here it is.
Nay. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Oh, first, General CJG here. Who's next?
And the Spider-Man Maniac from State of Star Wars.
And?
Well, I guess you could consider me the second Fandom Menace Slayer alongside B-Level.
Well, that would be something. And also the Angry Star Wars boy.
That's true.
Yep.
Indeed. So
Okay.
okay.
Hobbylark.com did an article called Contradictions in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, EU/Legends.
Oh.
And we're going to do a reaction to it.
Yeah.
Well, let's give the person credit. At least they tried to an extent to point out some contradictions that exist. Let's give credit where credit's due, but there's other contradictions they could have pointed out besides the ones they put out in this article.
We'll get to those contradictions. So,
all right, so we're going to actually skip a huge chunk of it because he just goes on about how the expanded universe is decanonized and the whole creative freedom, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Which Lucas was never involved, whatever.
Yeah, so let's get to the meat in potatoes, aka the 15 contradictions, list of 15 contradictions between EU/Legends narratives. So let's begin, guys. Let's go with the first one. Actually, before we do it, here's a paragraph he says. He says the spells out 15 inconsistencies that exist between various EU/Legends narratives. Contradictions between the EU/Legends sources and the canon material feature films, the Clone Wars series and Star Wars Rebels, are not highlighted. Reason being, the rule of thumb is that if anything in the Star Wars canon conflicts the EU material, the EU material is automatically relegated to non-canon status.
Well, that's not how canon in the EU worked, you moron.
Okay, let's
according
point
to his
that out
logic,
first.
a lot of TCW wouldn't be canon.
Because it contradicts the movies, which were the highest form of canon. Actually, speaking of which, why does he bring up Rebels? Rebels did not exist at the time that the EU was declared non-canon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No idea. No idea, guys. But, well, at least we're going to be dealing with pure EU contradictions. So, let's go, guys. So, first in the list, the first one, apparently...
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Contradiction number 1. In Darth Bane Path to Destruction, Githany is one of the victims of the thought bomb. Her death takes place immediately after the detonation. In Jedi vs. Sith, Githany lives long enough after the detonation to have one last conversation with Bane before she dies from the thought bomb's effect.
Okay. This is the equivalent of saying the Star Wars junior film novelization contradicting the adult novelization type of argument we're seeing now.
Well,
it does seem that way, yeah.
It seems like this person doesn't understand how records work.
Darth Bane Path to Destruction was designed in a way that could merge various Darth Bane stories in the early 2000s.
Yeah. To be honest, just take the Jedi vs. Sith comic as S-canon.
Here's something that confuses me about this. The one that actually references the book in the Darth Bane trilogy that actually discusses, Darth Bane having his conversation with Sana in the thought bomb, in the part in which in the comic Githany shows up almost nearly dead. That's actually in Darth Bane Rule of Two, not in Path of Destruction. So
yes, that's true, because because Githany does die in Path of Destruction, but the scene where Darovit encounters Zana and Bane, because that happened in the comic too.
Yeah,
that was the final scene in the comic, or one of them.
Yeah, so I guess this guy forgot that two is actually the one that happens. Lol. That's something. Well, so guys, before to the next one, so the solution for this one I guess, is double as the higher form of canon.
Every
well,
no.
person that obviously never heard of retcons.
This is another thing. Every essential guides and visual dictionaries after 2006 or 2007, whatever, actually references Darth Bane Path of Destruction's events over Jedi versus Sith.
That could, yeah. In fact, the Central Reader's Companion takes Darth Bane's saga entirely. It has a small fact about Jedi versus Sith, but it's like more of a note rather than actually taking it as full canon. Actually, so there is that. Not to mention, Jedi versus Sith Central Guide to the Force also has the events of the Darth Vader Path of Destruction. It has barely mentioned specific Jabba Sith moments, so there is that. And yes, viewers, I have the guides and here alongside me to confirm it. So do not question me.
We'll move on to the next contradiction.
Yes, sorry, I was clarifying. Okay,
all right.
Next.
So this is from. It's from Path of Destruction, Rule of Two, conflicting with the story Bane of the Sith from 2001.
Oh, from Gary J. Anderson. Okay. Since it's two of them, let's go with the first one.
Right. It says the thought bomb that annihilates all the Jedi and Sith on Ruusan is the result of Bane's scheme in Darth Bane Path of Destruction. In Bane of the Sith, Bane insisted Lord Khan to avoid using the thought bomb.
Someone has got something on that?
Is that referenced in the Reader's Companion?
The short story?
Yes.
Good question. The short story, as far as I know, it's called Short Story Bane of Sith. Darkness Shared. Yes, it's referenced here. Short story.
So what's the Reader's Companion explanation behind that?
According to here, in 2001, Wizards of the Coast published the tale describes Bane's uncovering Freedom Nass hologram if stationed before his palace. Oh wait, so it's kind of retelling will be retold in Darth Bane Rule of Two. Oh wait, so the magazine has a number of compared to Bane is not presented as a scheming mastermind behind the use of a devastating thought bomb. For instance, Bane's brand is also not mentioned in the source story. It sounds like the story is basically getting retconned by Rule of Two to some extent.
Yeah, again, he doesn't understand a retcon. And even if Bane did say that, Lord Khan was pretty mad. He was insane.
Not to mention, how much would I bet that literal? How much would I bet that literally that? How much would I bet that Bane was just saying just to try to literally like furthermore convince Khan to not do it. Like basically Bane was kind of saying, oh, don't do it, even though Bane really wants in his mind. Something like
Jedi vs. Sith, the Essential Guide to the Force, and the complete Star Wars Encyclopedia, and even the Essential Atlas references the events of Path of Destruction and Rule of Two.
Yeah, they do.
I don't see the of the Sith being referenced, actually.
Yeah, there is that.
In fact, Bane of the Sith actually lacks information that is actually in what was it? Darth Bane Path of Destruction.
Yeah.
This is because at the time, Darth Bane Path of Destruction, the universe was more fleshed out, and Bane of the Sith actually says that Bane discovered the Sith holocron, but I think it only mentions only one Sith Lord. I think it was Exar Kun. But Darth Bane Path of Destruction also mentions characters like Revan due to the book being released after 2003. So
and also Freed and Nad, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, indeed. So there is that indeed.
Okay, it also says after adopting the title of Darth, Darth Bane has an apprentice in Darth Zana. Darth Zana plays a key role in both Darth Bane Path of Destruction and Darth Bane Rule of Two. In Bane of the Sith, Zana is not mentioned whatsoever.
That's not a contradiction.
It literally isn't.
And first off, Zana doesn't play a big role in Path of Destruction. She doesn't even appear until the very end of the novel.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not just because a character's not mentioned doesn't make it a contradiction. Unless he had another apprentice, like name whoever, it's not a contradiction. It's ridiculous.
Yep, that is true.
Let's tackle the next one.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, next one is gonna be one of your favorites.
Jedi Trial
Oh, yeah.
and
Well, hold on. Let's give the guy credit. At least he attempted to do research, unlike Hello Greedo.
oh yeah, we can give him credit. For that.
Okay, well, yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
the next source is between Jedi Trial and Star Wars Clone Wars Season 3, Chapter 21.
Oh, I know.
Oh God.
I know.
It says,
Okay, read it.
in the animated TV microseries, Anakin Skywalker's ascension to Jedi Knight takes place during the early days of the Clone Wars. The shortage of
Nope,
Jedi Knights
that's wrong.
necessitates this action, even though Master Oppo Rancisis raised objection the knighthood of Skywalker. In Jedi Trial, Skywalker is only promoted to Jedi Knight towards the end of the Clone Wars, around 6 months before the end of the conflict.
No, that's wrong. Considering that Anakin was, they never depicted Anakin becoming a Jedi Knight in Jedi Trial.
Mhm.
I know. I read the damn book.
What does the new essential chronology say?
Oh, I got it open right here. It actually places Jedi Trial for your Roundabout, and your Dark Roundabout was placed before the microseries, chapter 21. So it actually said that Jedi Trial happened first, but then your Dark Roundabout happened, and then Anakin's knighthood happened, which is in chapter 21, Clone Wars season 3. So the essential chronology actually has it right. Unlike
Okay, let me. This person is confusing TCW with Granitoski's Clone
Because
Wars.
he was never
God.
knighted during the early parts of the Clone Wars.
God, so he's doing the same mistake Hello Greedo did. No
Jesus. And wait a minute, didn't he say in Clone Wars 2003?
well, let's just say that he says the animated TV microseries. So he means Clone Wars 2003. I mean, he even says in the source that it's Clone Wars Season 3, Chapter 21. Yeah, the animated series from .com. So and he says that the early days of the Clone Wars. You're confusing the dates of. He's confusing TCW knighthood with microseries knighthood.
This is the pre-TCW timeline, you imbecile.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, because we already tackled
Alright.
this one in depth with Hello Greedo. Okay, next. Next is one that happens in the microseries itself.
Yeah,
actually.
between Season 1, Chapter 3 and Season 1, Chapter 9.
Yep.
Does this really break the fabric of the canon? It's just a minor.
It's so
You know.
insignificant.
Well,
It says the rank of ARC
It doesn't have
Trooper Captain
explanation.
Fordo
It has
changes
explanation.
in the course of the series.
Okay.
In Chapter 3, he's a
it's-
sergeant, but in Chapter 9, he is a commander. Additionally, he is referred back to his original rank of captain in Season 2, Chapter 20.
This is so insignificant. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not like they made a mistake about his rank, like a certain somebody made for a certain imperial person that's not even an admiral in A New Hope.
There is an explanation. If this guy wants to play this dirty game, I'll play his game.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, according to the Guide to the Grand Army of the Republic, released in Star Wars Insider 84, the reason why Fordo was called a commander isn't that the commander was his military rank. It was actually called Task Force Commander. It was just a title, not his rank. And about the, what is it? Oh, I exit the. Wait for a second. Was it rank sergeant?
Sergeant.
Okay. With that, they fixed it with the release of the DVDs, Volume 1 and 2. In the credits, it is mentioned as Fordo is mentioned as the ARC Trooper Captain. in volume 2 of the DVD, it is directly mentioned that he is called Captain Fordo. So no. Nice try though.
Huh.
Yeah.
There is that.
All right, let's go
Now,
to the next
what-
one.
Mhm.
The
Alright.
next one is between Boba Fett number 5, A New Threat, and Jedi Trial.
Oh, Dark
He
Snovia.
says Anakin Skywalker is still a Padawan in the juvenile novel. This contradicts the fact that events in the juvenile novel takes place after events in Jedi Trial, where Skywalker is promoted to Jedi Knight.
Okay, here's the thing. This person is using the Essential Reader's Companion as a source. But do you know why that is mentioned? That is mentioned because to point out contradictions and eliminate the contradictions.
Okay, can I mention that here's the thing. The Essential Reader's Companion is trying to suck the dick of TCW, so it's going to automatically have contradictions in Clone Wars. And if we go to the original Clone Wars timeline, actually, Anakin was not really a Padawan, nor was he a Jedi Knight. You know, shortly after a Jedi Trial, he was kind of in the middle. Actually, it was until Clone Wars 2003 where he got knighted after Yoda Dark Rendezvous. Shortly after Yoda Dark Rendezvous. Jesus, my God.
So, wait, if he's using the Reader's Companion, then this is not a contradiction. It's retcon.
It's not a contradiction.
Yeah, it's more of a red.
Yep.
Apparently, these people don't understand the difference between retcons and contradictions.
Literally.
Yep, indeed.
Oh man.
Well, next one. Oh,
This was
it's gonna
between
be your
Boba Fett number 6 and Boba Fett: The Fight to Survive.
Okay, let's go.
Or yeah, Boba Fett 6 Pursuit. I meant to say.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
It is claimed in Boba Fett number 6 Pursuit that Boba Fett has never been to Coruscant. However, Boba Fett number 1 The Fight to Survive clearly chronicled the incident where Boba Fett is captured by Aurra Sing on Coruscant.
He never went to Coruscant to fight to survive.
He did. He did.
Really? I don't. Can you
He
confirm
went to
this?
Coruscant. I read the book. He went to
Dark-
Coruscant and was chased all around by Aurra Sing. But here's the thing: this guy is missing the point again. You do not use the Essential Reader's Companion to point out quote-unquote contradiction.
Okay, in order to deal with this one, okay, how did it happen in the books actually? Like how did Boba Fett actually get to Coruscant in the first book? Can somebody tell me how that happened?
There was like after what was it? After Battle of Geonosis, Boba Fett goes to Coruscant to see some banking related people, and then he tries to avoid Aurra Sing because Aurra Sing tries to get the money of Jango Fett, so Boba has to out.
Okay.
Iron.
I've read so much material. You gotta forgive me if I forget a few.
Yeah.
And I haven't read any of the Boba Fett novels, so.
Then again, we have and Boba Fett number 6 Pursuit. It's just a passing line saying Boba Fett never went to Coruscant. It's just one sentence mentioned there. But then again, you do not use Essential Reader's Companion to quote-unquote contradiction. So, nope.
Okay, so the only one that's a legitimate contradiction. Let's go to that one.
Okay, fair enough. So
It's Labyrinth of Evil and Republic Commando Order 66.
okay, now this you two don't want the
To be honest with you, this is a contradiction, no matter how we want to spin it.
Okay, well, let's tackle it. So, the contradiction is the Battle of Coruscant in Republic Commando Order 66 spans several days, but it occurs in the course of a single day in Labyrinth of Evil. True or false, guys?
It's true.
I have, but then again, we get to use canon hierarchy if we want to solve this thing.
No. Okay, here's the thing: how Karen Travis's Public Commando novels work. They have dates in all the books. where certain events take place. I mean, according to Republic Commando, the events of Revenge of the Sith happen in the span of a week, which is impossible. So, the solution for this is you have to ignore the date, at least for Republic Commando's case, in order to make sense of this. So I cannot really say this isn't a contradiction. The only legitimate thing I could say that it is a contradiction. Unless you could find a solution in the Reader's Companion General, I have nothing to refute this.
I mean, but then again, I think I did saw the thing. It didn't say it take like 6. It take less than a day. I think it was written in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, and I had to use the Revenge of the Sith novelization because it's G canon material, and if C canon tries to contradict G canon, it's automatically the information gets ignored. That's why I'm using that argument.
Yeah, but it is a contradiction nevertheless. I can't say anything against this one because it is a contradiction.
As general, what the?
All right, what's the next one? Labyrinth of Evil and Star Wars Clone Wars.
This is probably another one where they might have a legitimate point.
Yeah, let's see. In the novel, Mace Windu fights on a maglev train against General Grievous. In the series, Mace Windu fights droids alongside Yoda.
That's minor. That's minor, honestly.
But Revenge of the Sith movie mentions that General Grievous will always run away like the coward he is, so I could support the Star Wars Clone Wars for Mace versus General Grievous situation.
If I had to be honest here, even though this is a contradiction, this is one of the few occasions I think I take Labyrinth of Evil's, word over the microseries.
Oh, hey, speaking of the microseries, why is it not mentioned in the article?
I don't know. This is a legitimate contradiction.
Oh, no, actually, it is mentioned. It's the next contradiction, actually.
All right, in the novel, several different Jedi attempt to rescue the Supreme Chancellor. In the series, a trio of Jedi Masters made up of Shakti, Roran Karab, and Fal Mudama attempt to rescue him.
This is directly mentioned. This stuff is directly mentioned. The normal Labyrinth of Evil, this Shakti, Roran Karab, is directly mentioned in Revenge of the Sith novelization.
Okay, I seriously want to know in what part. I seriously want to know.
The beginning part says that Anakin and General Obi-Wan Kenobi has a conversation and saying, "How could we stop Grievous when he couldn't be stopped by Shakti and blah 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 blah," and mentions the characters. But some of the characters mentioned in the Labyrinth of Evil does not appear in Clone Wars microseries.
Oh, of course they don't. In the beginning. You mean chapter 5, chapter 4? Because I want to confirm this. Because if we don't confirm it, let's just say that there's going to be something.
Let me search for a second.
I'm already searching. I just need to know in what page.
Oh, I have the ebook, so it's faster for me to do.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, you want to go to the next one?
I guess so, yeah. For now.
Okay, here's this thing. Anakin. Obi-Wan says, Anakin, he was defended by Stas Ali and Shakti. If two masters could not prevent this, do you think you could? Stas Ali is clever and valiant. And Shakti is the most cunning Jedi I ever met, even though taught me a few tricks. Stas Ali does not appear in the microseries.
But then
that's true.
Canon.
Oh, wait, is she mentioned in Labyrinth of Evil, Stas Ali?
Yes.
There's that. I guess so. Well, to be perfectly honest, I still prefer more 2003's version. Honestly, it makes more sense.
Well, I take Labyrinth of Evil's word for it.
Because the episode 3 novelization.
Yeah, because episode 3 novelization reinforces Let's move on.
All right.
Okay, fair enough.
The next one is
Next.
between Interlude at Dark Now and The Force Unleashed.
I can't
Okay.
comment on this one because I haven't read either one of them.
All right. In The Force
Well,
Unleashed, Garm Bel Iblis, along with Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, attended and signed the Corellian Treaty at Corellia that marks the formal birth of the Alliance to preserve the Republic. Restore the Republic. However, they are ambushed by the Imperial forces under the command of Darth Vader and taken captive aboard the nearly completed first Death Star. In Interlude, at Dark Now, the Rebel Alliance is already active, but it is pictured in the novel that Garm Bel Iblis knows very little about the existence of the Death Star.
Well, I got a simple solution for this one. Force Unleashed an entire multimedia project compared to the short story Tales of the New Republic. So the multimedia project takes super precedence over the short story.
And not to mention, they still didn't know much about the Death Star.
Yeah.
Okay, just because you know the existence about the Death Star, but how do you know what does it do? How does it function? You know, all those stuff.
Yeah, because they were just prisoners aboard it. It's not like they went. Yeah, they didn't explain to them what it was.
That is true. They were, as far as we know, they were probably just standing in the Emperor's throne room in the entirety of the Force Unleashed level. That's all they were doing. So they probably didn't know much about how the Death Star worked.
And also, we don't even know if they saw it, much of it going out. They just had to get the hell out of there.
Not to mention, here's the thing: if they actually knew about the Death Star, then why did they have to make several plans? Plans to literally get all the Death Star.
Let's save that thought for the next contradiction.
Oh yeah, this one is really dumb.
Oh yes, very true, Dux. No, yeah, very
A
true.
contradiction between X-Wing and Dark Forces. The rebellion agent tasked with stealing the Death Star, or plans of the Death Star, is inconsistent in these two video games. It is Kyle Katarn in Dark Forces, while an X-Wing, the person in charge of the heist is KN Farlander.
Okay,
Oh,
hey,
God.
imbecile.
Here's a little thing. It's called Operation Sky.
There was multiple plans of the Death Star.
The Empire purposely separated the Death Star plans in multiple ways so that the rebellion could not get it easily.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot more sense than having all of the plans be in one place, like in Boar 1.
Not to mention here's another thing. Even if they had, okay, as you said, Dr. Snowy, yes, it makes more sense than because having multiple plans. Because here's one of the reasons. What if the plans the got were, I don't know, fake or incomplete? It will make more sense to get multiple readings of the Death Star and combine all of them into one and have one definitive entire big plan, schematic of the Death Star. It makes more sense that.
Yes, it does.
Indeed. It also shows that the Empire were not really that stupid as to literally leave just one schematic of the Death Star in one single place. Rogue One.
Obviously, this person never mentioned Operation Skyhook, which was a retcon to explain all these things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. By the way, the source says the stealing of Death Star plans. Star Wars X-Wing, Dark Forces, Soldier for the Fortune, Lethal Alliance, Rebel Dawn, Jedi Dawn, the Battlefront 2, the campaign, as well as Rebel Assault, etc. It has all of that. So it's actually like 8 sources, which you forgot to mention in the article, but okay. So there is that. Now, here is so I guess we're finished with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The next one is between Galaxy 5, Guide 5, Return of the Jedi, and a short story, Goatgrass, The Tale of Reese.
Oh.
The role-playing game supplement that provides Rigi's basic backstory as a murderer suggests that he survived Jabba's sail barge explosion in Return of the Jedi, but the short story seemed to suggest that Rigi's perished in the blast.
Okay.
Why?
Somebody knows about this one?
But I
what's up?
think the essential guide to characters release. I know it's outdated source, but I think it mentions that
Which one?
Rigi,
The 2012
1995.
Oh,
1995.
we cannot use that one.
All right, what does it say? You were interrupted.
Wikipedia mentions it as being directly dead. The official Star Wars fact file 44, I think, mentions it's dead. But let me have to search for that. Who has the essential guide to characters?
Unfortunately,
New
not
essential.
me. I want to get.
Not to mention, doesn't stuff like
Role-playing game
books,
supplement.
it takes precedence over like role-playing game stuff?
Yeah, that is true. That's true indeed. Not to mention it came out a year later, so I assume they probably did it as some sort of retcon or something. Not to mention.
No, reuse. Wait, role-playing games usually feature scenarios that could be either one way or the other. The story obviously is prioritized over role-playing game.
Yeah, that's true because a role-playing game can go unless it's the source book itself. So there's that. There is that indeed.
Maybe if we're wrong, we have to address something in the comment section, but whatever.
Fair enough. Okay. So I guess that's how we tackle that one. Now, next one. Oh,
It's from the Dark Forces Jedi Knight novella and Darth Bane Path of Destruction.
ooh, let's see it.
It says, in Dark Forces Jedi Knight, the final moments of the thought bomb that wipes out both the Jedi and Sith is different from the accounts of the event as told in Darth Bane Path of Destruction. Notably, the thought bomb is envisioned by Kyle to be detonated in an open valley as opposed to in a cave, according to Drew's novel.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing: video games have always been S canon.
No, this is from the
No,
Dark
this
Forces
is not true.
novella, not the game.
Oh.
His the novella, and even if it was a video game, it will still be C canon. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The Force could be big at times. Maybe the vision will have truth. I mean, remember,
It was like Kyle was basically, it was a vision he had, not the actual event.
Well, what was
what
was the retcon in the readers?
No. It was basically Kyle Katarn imagining, having a vision about Battle of Rusan.
Yeah.
Vision, right and wrong in some sort of ways. You can't really use that. I mean, seriously.
Not to mention, one of the most popular Star Wars movies, Empire Strikes Back. Remember, Luke Skywalker had a vision of Han and Leia suffering in Bespin. Look at what happened. It turned out to be different.
And this also appeared. It says that Star Wars Ultimate Visual Guide, the new essential chronology, Jedi vs. Sith essential guide to Force, the complete Star Wars encyclopedia, the essential atlas, also supports the Path of Destruction, or if it's more earlier, Jedi vs. Sith, because nope, it's just a vision.
Yeah, it's
not literally what happened.
It's not a contradiction. It's a fucking mission. Okay, if it actually was a contradiction, then Dark Forces Jedi Knight would have actually depicted the battle, not in a freaking vision, but maybe in an actual, I don't know, hologram recording or some records detailing how it happened. No, it's a vision, which could easily be vague or half true, or maybe it could be a fake vision. The Force works in many different ways. Like, seriously.
Oh god.
The next one is not even a contradiction.
Yeah, it's not even a contradiction.
Oh, great. It says the thought bomb is created by Lord Khan before the arrival of the Jedi in the vision of Kyle Katarn. In Drew's novel, the thought bomb is simultaneously created and detonated at the arrival of the Jedi in the cave.
Again,
Okay,
vision
I-
of Kyle Katarn.
And also,
Vision.
from what I remember, the thought bomb was already created. All he did was clap his hands together to finally detonate it.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Battle of Rusan happened in 1000 BBY, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When did Dark Forces Jedi Knight happen?
Dark Force Jedi happened all the way until as far as I know 5 BBY.
It was
so
actually, yeah, it was 5 BBY.
So you're hoping me to be convinced that somebody directly knows the events from a vision from more than 1,000 years ago? Do you want me to believe that? Okay,
Yeah.
years ago. Okay, good idea.
Alright. Next one.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Oh, okay. I think Darth Snowy could tackle this.
Yeah,
Let's
between
give
Rebel
it-
Dawn and A Forest Apart, a Chewbacca adventure. It says,
Okay.
though Lumpa Warum.
Hold on, I haven't read A Force Apart. I'm just letting you
Oh,
know.
Essential
You're gonna
Reader's
have to get the
Companion.
Reader's Companion.
So anyway, though Lumpa Warump is said to be 11 years old in A Forest Apart, a Chewbacca adventure, Rebel Dawn specifies he was born in 1 BBY, meaning he should be about 8 or 9 years old instead.
A Forest Apart is supposedly takes place in 8 BBY, if I'm not mistaken. I'm checking
Here's
right
the
now.
thing. You don't use Essential Reader's Companion to quote-unquote call out contradictions. The purpose of the Essential Reader's Companion is retconning. How can you not understand that concept?
Yeah.
Because the Star Wars fandom doesn't understand the difference between a contradiction and a retcon.
Oh god.
Because I guarantee you, the new canon, if you look hard enough, well, not really. You
Oh,
can
also-
find far more contradictions than you would in this article.
Also, Leland Chi actually confirmed that Forest Apart was a mistake.
What do you mean?
Leland Chi confirmed that in one of the old Star Wars message boards.
But
Even
what do you mean by
Wikipedia-
mistake? But what do you mean by
that-
mistake?
That Lumpowaro's age was wrong.
In that short story?
In Forest Apart.
Oh, wait. So he actually is 11 years old.
No. It's
You said
Leland Chi
part's wrong.
confirmed that he must be about 9 years old.
Oh, so then the age that the Lumpawaru has in Rebel Dawn is wrong. So the one that is real.
No. Rebel Dawn is correct, and A Forest Apart is wrong. Leland Chi confirmed that.
Okay,
Oh.
it's a typo. Is this
Yes.
really that big of a deal? You can easily correct it by just with a simple edit in a future edition.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Like how I remember one of the Darth Bane books said one of the characters was using Vapad, but meant to say Juyo. It's a simple typo. Oh god, the next one.
Oh god. Oh.
Which,
get ready.
ironically, okay, I gotta stress this because this is probably my first expanded universe story that I've read, and I've read it multiple times, and I've read the shorts. One, this is not a fucking contradiction because
No, I want to read it first.
Wait. Before you say it, let's mention what contradiction we're
Okay,
So,
it's between.
it's the elephant
Wait.
in the room. The
Yep.
Wait,
EU haters' favorite to bring up when they criticize the E EU.
let's tackle it. So the
Jaster
contradiction is
Muriel is identified as the leader of the true Mandalorians, and he is the mentor of Boba Fett's father, Jango Fett, in the comic book series. However, the name Jaster Muriel is revealed to be the real name of Boba Fett.
in the book.
Okay.
Now you can rant, Oxnavia.
Let me mention this one thing before Jordan says something. The history of the Mandalorians, and the new essential guide to chronology, characters, mentions that Boba Fett used the fake name Jaster Mario. So shut the fuck up about it.
Actually, first off, it was Attack of the Clones that contradicted Boba Fett's backstory, not open season.
Speaking of Attack of the Clones, the new essential guide to characters actually was released before Attack of the Clones movie.
Which one? The
characters was
essential
released
guide to
before.
characters before. In that case, it's probably missing stuff about that.
I mean, seriously, it was Attack of the Clones that completely contradicted Boba Fett, real name not being Jaster Mario. It wasn't
not
the open seasons.
Contradiction, because the new essential guide to characters was released before Attack of the Clones.
But here's the thing: we're tackling the one that actually made Attack of the Clones, so we have to deal with that one. Okay?
No, I'm serious. The comic's entire point was to retcon, something that Attack of the Clones retconned.
It's basically a solution. Jango Fett opposition is basically an entire retcon made for the contradiction that Attack created. That's what it is.
Basically how Boba Fett, Jango, is related to the Mandalorians and how Boba Fett came to exist in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Which here's the thing. I find it convenient he doesn't bring up the movies, because that's a contradiction the movies created, not the EU.
Exactly.
And you know what's funny? It's a prequel movie. You'd think he would have more leeway to shit on it, but nope. That's the funny part.
It's complete nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah, let me further talk about this. In the Last One Standing, The Tale of Boba Fett, the story actually shows that Boba Fett, according to that story, Boba Fett was a journeyman protector in Concord Dawn known as Jaster Mario, who killed a superior officer. That is actually mentioned in Legacy of the Force.
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
But this is getting too long already. Let's go. Let's tackle
There's
the next
one more.
contradiction.
It's the last one. So.
Oh boy.
Oh,
From
okay.
Star Wars 68, The Search begins, and Dark Empire 2. Boba Fett is revealed as one of the 212 Mandalorian super commandos from the Clone Wars. In Star Wars 68, The Search begins. In Dark Empire number 2, Boba Fett is a former Imperial stormtrooper who murdered his superior officer.
First off, the Marvel comics back then were not considered C canon. They were considered S canon.
Yep.
Also,
in fact, most of those comics, even today, are still considered S canon. Not most of them, but a good chunk of them. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're still in a gray area when it comes to canon.
That's an explanation for that also.
Nothing in the comics are real, and those comics are really taken into account with a few exceptions.
Yep.
Okay, Boba Fett being the leader of the Mandalorians. Actually, that was not Boba Fett. It was retconned in various sources. You remember the ARC Trooper Spar from Republic Commando, Jordan, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Actually, Spar claimed to the Mandalorians that he was a quote-unquote son of Jango Fett. That's why the misconception, and he wanted to pretend to be Boba Fett. That's how that worked. So that he had legitimacy to lead the Mandalorians.
There is that. Also, here's something else. Talking about Boba Fett being a former Imperial stormtrooper, murders his superior officer. That's actually a rumor that he probably perpetuated.
It kind of happened in Blood Ties. Boba Fett is dead. Actually, Boba Fett once had to pretend to be a stormtrooper. And he disguised himself as a stormtrooper and kills an Imperial officer.
Yeah, but these people don't understand retcons. on how they work.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay,
Not
I think I'm done because there's not much more I could say.
Yeah, that was the final one.
Oh wait, there is one thing, Dark Synovia. The freaking EU haters are already good, and especially haters of you, Dark Synovia. They're gonna say that why the fuck are you defending Jango Fett Open Seasons being an entire retcon for Boba Fett's backstory when you shitted on Death Sentence being an entire explanation for Darth Maul's resurrection? How much can I bet they're gonna fuck that shit up?
It's not Death Sentence. It's whatever the hell you call that freaking comic.
Son of Dathomir?
Here's something that's different. Jango Fett Open Seasons is a comic that's easy to get. You could get it on Kindle. You could get it in the Marvel Epic collections. It's an easy comic to find.
Yeah.
The comic with Darth Maul and explaining his survival, on the other hand, is not. Because not only do you have to pay a hefty sum just to get the comic if you don't want to read it online, its entire purpose is to retcon Darth Maul's survival.
And no,
That's the difference.
Darth Maul's being dead is G canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I defend Open Seasons because Open Season is not a fucking contradiction.
Yeah, that is indeed. Not to mention, Open Seasons does not really contradict anything. It actually explains something that the movies retconned. Unlike with Darth Maul's death, which was retconned by a TV show, which is not even G.
Here's another point. That comic is no longer considered canon. So there's no explanation for Darth Maul's survival now because of the EU being thrown out. That's the difference between defending, Open Seasons and shitting on that other comic. Because unlike Open Seasons, none of that stuff is taken into account in the new canon. Darth Maul's resurrection is taken into account, yet there's no longer an explanation on how he survived because of the EU, Order 66. Yeah.
Yep. So
Okay, let's give the person some credit on this article. At least they tried more than other people in other articles to point at contradictions in the EU. They did have a few contradictions, but the problem is they're using the Reader's Companion to look for contradictions, not actually look for contradictions that were never resolved, because those are real contradictions. And obviously, this person doesn't understand the concept that retcons and contradictions aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
That retcons and contradictions go hand in hand. You can't tell stories without retconning stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna run out of stories very quickly.
Oh, guys, guess what? Oh, we actually have one more thing to tackle in this article. Guess what? The author actually responded to comment below. A comment.
I don't think it's worth talking about.
Oh, I think it is because somebody said most of those contradictions were already explained. They don't really contradict the lore anyway. And the author is like, the first thing he says is like, the fuck? He says, I is, and always will favor the expanded universe over Disney sanctioned canon. To me, the founding of the Rebel Alliance emblem in The Force Unleashed supersedes Sabine's Firebird art Wars Rebels. What the? Okay. And then he says, I overlooked the importance of citing my resources for this article. Hence, I will include them in this article. Writing based on assumptions is not something that I would tolerate myself. And number 3, this article solely highlights the contradictions that existed in the EU. That's all to it. I wrote this article because I found there was a void up for a straightforward list to spell the contradictions. Capisce? Therefore, discussions on EU retcons and corrections for the error on my part is greatly welcome. By all means, you can all go out to do so in the comments. I've been a Star Wars fan for 10 years plus, but still, I have never claimed to be the biggest fan, nor have I ever claimed to be a walking Star Wars EU encyclopedia. However, please civilized response when addressing this issue in my comments section. As such, I will not tolerate personal jabs that are directed to me as the author, and I will not tolerate to delete derogatory phrases in the comment section, which probably he did. But okay, here's the thing: if that's true, then I mean, I guess the title says that he's an avid reader of Star Wars, but oh well. So I guess this guy did make some research, as you guys were saying. I'm still.
Well, he did. He got some obvious facts wrong, though. He got TCW's facts mixed up with Clone Wars 2003.
Like hello burrito.
It's like, my God, even freaking Star Wars Wiki fucking gets this. Which, okay, I'm sorry to say this, people. If Star Wars Wiki is your main source, you lose credibility to me when it comes to talking about Star Wars lore.
Yeah, by Wiki he means Wikipedia.
It's like, I'm sorry, unless you use your primary source is primarily source books. This goes for canon as well as legends. I don't really trust your source at all, because there's certain things that Wikipedia haven't updated in years regarding the EU.
Oh yes.
I'm not going to say that it isn't a good source if you are doing some research on, let's say, bios on character. But if you're looking for in-depth continuity notes, no, you need the Essential Guide to Chronology, the Reader's Companion, and etc.
The actual books.
Yeah.
Because to me, those are primary sources. I consider Wikipedia a secondary source that you shouldn't use in order to, try to criticize or defend the EU or canon.
Yep. Indeed, and right here alongside. So yeah, that was I guess the final thing to cover in this article. So anything else to say?
There's nothing else to say. The only thing I could say is, unlike other articles that talk about the EU, at least this person didn't, at least he tried to research to a degree, even though he did got a lot of facts wrong.
Oh yes, Skyhook can be Anakin.
He did have some legitimate contradictions. The one between Order 66 and Labyrinth of Evil, the one between the microseries and Labyrinth of Evil.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny those sources, but then again, these are obvious even amongst hardcore EU fans. These contradictions.
It makes me surprised that Hello Guido never tackled those in his video.
Because Hello Greedo is a fucking noob when it comes to Star Wars lore. I mean, I'm going by canon and legend. He's a fucking noob.
Literally. Oh god, he's a noob.
So I think that's all.
And also, at least this person isn't trying to claim that these are, these are the end-all be-all when it comes to contradiction.
Yeah.
At least the person admitted they made some mistakes in this article, which I will give this perfect person props for that. But it doesn't make this article any less shitty.
No, it's still a shitty article.
Sorry. Okay, in the future, if you're going to point out contradictions in the expanded universe, don't use the Reader's Companion to point out contradictions.
As the only source. And definitely do not use Wikipedia as your only source. Nope.
No. And I'm not saying that there aren't contradictions in the EU. You could find, a contradiction, here and there in the EU itself. I mean, it's just, it requires a lot of research, a lot more than, let's say, canon. I mean, I'm gonna end it with this. How many times have they retconned the age of the Jedi Order in the Republic in 5 years?
In Disney Star Wars? Oh, 3 times, I suppose. I think it was 3 times.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end it with that. I'll let you guys end the video.
Alright,
Okay.
So that was our reaction to this, so see you around.
Bye-bye.
Alright.